Answer me, mortal. What? Would you dare to challenge a god?
Hello, my name is Ben, if you missed the other part of the stream. This is Margot, she's here from PasstechGames?
PasstechGames. Hello.
And we're going to show you this game right here, Curse of the Dead Gods. We were streaming around half an hour ago, and then it turned out that our building was on fire, and our hair was in the oven, and the cat had been left on, and we didn't close the window when we left home. So we're back now, and everything's great. We're going to kick it right into some more gameplay. For those that either didn't or couldn't see it before, what is this game, Margot?
So Curse of the Dead God is a roguelite action game, made by PasstechGames and published by Focus Home.
That's us. Okay.
And we are releasing the game in early access on March 3rd.
Yep.
So you can already wishlist the game on Steam if you want, and we're going to show you some gameplay today.
Yep, that's the plan. Hit Steam on March 3rd. You can already wishlist it if you like. It's going to be around €15. Whatever that ends up being in your local currency, I have no idea. As you can hear, I'm British, so my local currency doesn't make any sense anymore. We're also we're going to be at PAX East. PAX East? Yes. In what, like 2 weeks or something like that?
The 27th until the 1st of March, I think.
So if you want to play the game for like kind of the first time super publicly, that'll be either the early access build or one very, very close to it. And that'll be kind of the first time that it's ready to go. So if you can get over to there for Boston, please enjoy it. Please tell everyone there that they're lovely. I won't be there. Margot, will you be there?
I won't.
Okay, well we won't be there. But loads of way better people than us will be there, so you can meet them too. Alright, Nico's playing for us today. Say hello, Nico.
Hello.
One day he's going to say hello, Nico, when I say hello, Nico. So this is your kind of initial map. This is chooses your route through the temple that you're attempting to get through. Margot, you said you like to start with gold.
Yeah, because you need gold to buy stuff.
Mm-hmm. Need it to win.
Yeah. No, you don't actually.
No, you don't. You want to have as little gold as possible by the end because you need to have spent it all on weapons and items to win. So, you know, as far as your basic understanding of a roguelite, if you've played a game in which you hit monsters with a sword before, there isn't, like, you're not going to be confused trying to pick this up. Attack enemies, use your different skills, use your different weapons that you have to start with. You start with a sword, a machete, a pistol, and this torch as well, which can be used to set all these pots on fire. Excellent. Well done, Nico. Proud of you.
A lot of gold.
Yeah, and you pick up a lot of gold. So, do you want to talk about the combat a little bit? Like, it's fairly, I don't want to say basic, but it's easy to pick up and play, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's very, one of the main feedback we had when we launched the game in alpha was that the combat system was very fluid and very easy to take. Really easy to learn. You basically use A to use your torch, X and Y to use your melee and ranged weapons, and sometimes you can have a two-handed weapon. You can use it with B. And then you have your dodge roll, and you have a parry.
Yeah, so, and that's kind of it.
That's pretty much it.
But the way, and this is kind of one of the themes of the game, is the way all of that stuff interacts is where it kind of gets interesting. So, for example, every single offhand weapon, we had a pistol, we actually now have this dagger. There is a bunch of cross-hand attacks they can do. So that's where you press X and then you press Y immediately afterwards, and that does a special kind of attack that has some kind of special effect. There, you saw it there. And you're meant to combo those into each other, you're meant to learn each one, you're meant to decide how you want to use them. So, for example, this the one with the dagger is like a backstep. That backstep's pretty useful for getting out of harm's way. You can dodge out of the way of stuff. You can just move backwards if you want to be away from something. And it also, it's pretty good for just kind of getting a bunch of damage in and then getting away quite safely while only using 1 point of stamina that you see there. We should probably talk about the stamina system. So this is kind of the limiter on the combat, I suppose?
Yeah, your stamina bar under your character is actually what you're going to use for the combat system. So when you do a full combo attack, you use actually 1 stamina. If you use your pistol, it's like ammunition, so you use stamina as well. And when you dodge roll, you use also stamina.
And one of the things you'll kind of notice as you're playing, like you won't think about your stamina, and then you won't have any when you need some, and you'll almost immediately die. You'll take like so much damage like super quickly because you were planning on doing XYZ, and then you didn't have exactly what you were expecting. Here's kind of another major feature of the game, which is using the environment against enemies. So these traps are here, they're here to hurt you, like they're meant to kill you, but you can use them just as easily against your enemies. Fire does damage to pretty much everything. It does a pretty decent amount of damage as well. So you need to, that's one of the things you need to be looking out for is, okay, how can I use the environment to my advantage? How can I use it to kill more enemies more quickly? And the other kind of major theme of the game is greed. And you see every time we're killing an enemy, it's popping up this greed kill logo. Well, it won't now because we're just taking damage. Perfect timing, Nico. Here we go. There we go. You get the greed kills. You want to explain the greed kills for us?
Yeah, so the greed kill actually gets you more money. So when you kill enemies, you actually gain money, and when you chain enemy kills, you get more and more money. So you want to have a fast pace when you're trying to kill enemies. And so you can have more money. Yeah.
So if you're blowing them all up with an explosive barrel or flamethrowing them all down, that's going to get you a lot of kills very quickly, which means not only is your combo counter higher for when you then kill the next enemy, but also you will have got a whole chunk of money from killing those enemies in the first place.
And with this money, you can actually buy things at sanctuaries. So you have different types of sanctuaries. Right here, it's a weapon sanctuary. So Nico actually bought a two-handed weapon, which is a spear, which is actually one of my favorite weapons.
Yeah, I like the spear a lot. So one of the cool things kind of about the game is this idea of duality between you spending gold and you spending your soul, spending corruption. So you can always buy any item you come across, doesn't matter how expensive it is, you can pretty much always buy it. But it will cost you a certain amount of your soul. It'll build this purple bar in the bottom right-hand corner. When that purple bar gets full, it'll reset down to 0, and one of the little curse icons will start flashing, and then the next time you go through a door, this will happen. This is pretty bad.
This is a bad one. I hate this one.
So these are the curses. These are in the game to be... They're mostly punishments. Like, they are designed to be punishments. They're one of the things that's stopping you from gaining too much power too quickly. But they also usually have some kind of secondary effect or something that you can play around that will help you in some way if you learn exactly how it works and exactly how you should be doing it. Now, this one's mostly just bad.
Yeah.
It pretty much, whenever you take damage, which I'm sure Nico will do absolutely deliberately any minute now, it puts you into a black and white state where you can't see quite as much information on the screen. A bunch of your UI goes away. We're thinking about the possibility, there we go, the possibility of changing exactly how this works and maybe adding some kind of benefit to this mode, but we haven't decided on it yet. And that's one of the reasons, in fact, that we're heading into early access, right, is we want a bunch of feedback on this game.
Yeah, actually, we've already have a closed alpha with hundreds of alpha testers, and they already have been super helpful to make the game better, and this is what we want to continue to do in the early access.
Yeah. So early access, like I said, is kicking off on March 3rd. We already have kind of a big plan of, okay, we want to add more sections, we want to add more monsters, more enemies, more traps, more different stuff for you to do, game modes and that sort of thing. But we also know that as soon as we, let a bunch of people buy and play this, they're going to be like, hey, why don't you do this? And we're going to be like, I don't know, why don't we do that? And then we'll do it. So we're pretty excited to get into that phase. We at Focus, we've run a few early accesses. We actually think they've all gone pretty well. We've really enjoyed working with communities to bring them the games that they want. And the Passtech guys, they've been doing a really good job of developing this game really quickly, changing things on the fly quite quickly, responding to feedback quite well. And because of kind of the way the game is built, the fact that it's got all these different systems, kind of light and shadow, that whole thing, this idea of gold and corruption, the way everything is designed to kind of work together, it means that changing stuff can be have quite a big effect, but it doesn't take much to have a big effect on that. So even adding a new weapon can have quite a big change on everything that you see coming next.
Yeah.
You can do it, Nico, I believe. Nice. So that's Nico using the parry there when you don't have a shield, because a shield is another one of the offhand weapons you can have. You just kind of put your hands together to try and parry something. You have a quite short window to do that. I mean, it's not tiny, but it is pretty difficult to do.
I can do it.
But there are different ways that can interact. You can make that shorter or longer depending on exactly what stuff you're using and that sort of thing.
And what's good with the parry, it doesn't use the stamina.
Mm-hmm. In fact, it regains some, right?
Yeah, you gain some.
Here you see the light mechanics we were talking about, actually. When there's no light in the area, you can't see the traps. So you need light to be able to see. You also take more damage, like you were saying, when you don't have the light. But then there's other things that you want to be aware of. For example, the relics, which we haven't really spoken about yet, some of those can make it so you prefer to be playing in the dark, or you're always in the light, or that kind of thing. You want to talk a little bit about the kind of the light and the darkness systems and the way that fire works and how it propagates and that sort of thing?
You can actually make more damage if you're playing in the light, or on the contrary, you can have other relics that can give you more damage if you play in the dark. So that's really something you need to try out and see what you like the most. And I think it's really fun to play in the dark because you have this extra feeling. Yeah. Oh, this is why you like the spear.
So one thing you'll notice with the spear here, actually, this is true of pretty much all the weapons, is they all kind of have... They're not really secret, but special effects of some kind. Something that isn't, like, kind of described on them that you sort of discover. So with the spear, what it is if you hit with just the, kind of the very tip of the spear where the actual blade is, you do a little bit more damage. You get, I can't remember exactly what the bonus is, but a certain percentage increase. With the hammer, for example, the hammer stuns every time that you hit enemies. And that's a very, very powerful effect, but because you're using stamina just to hit with it, if you mess it up, you're going to be in trouble, and it's not a very fast-firing weapon. Something we saw with the dagger earlier, those of you who were playing super close attention, is it always does critical damage when it hits from the back. So you're building up these different ways of fighting and these different styles, and again, everything that you do is determining exactly how your style works. All of this stuff is meshing together. The fact that your dagger does more damage from behind, well, maybe you need to find a different way to get behind enemies. The fact that you do more damage when you're at a very specific distance from enemies with the spear, you want to be fighting at that distance, so you want to find stuff that helps you get into that distance. And like we were saying as well, you know, with this kind of light-darkness thing, say you have a fire weapon like this bow, but you have the relic that means you do more damage in the dark, well, you can't ever be in the dark if you're dealing damage and it's causing fire. So you need to be careful about exactly how you're interacting with these different things. And again, it's about all these things and how they play together. None of these exact things are super complicated. The fact that the spear does damage at a certain range, that isn't super complicated. That's not something we expect to, you know, make you super enthralled. But when you put it on top of all the other stuff that's happening in the game, that's when it gets interesting, and it kind of turns into something that that you can play over and over and over again. And that's what we want. We want a game, you can pick it up, you can play it for 20 minutes and you can have a good time, or you can sit there doing run after run after run after run until it's 4 in the morning. And then you've also had a good time through all of them. So this is the first champion in the game. We've got champions and bosses. Champions are very slightly easier. They're sort of meant to be easier, but it doesn't always work out that way, depending on exactly where your power level's at. It's tough. It's tough. He doesn't mess around. Like, he's doing 200 damage a hit. You've only got 1,000 health. You need to be careful. Now, you see Nico using the bow dash here. The interesting thing about the bow dash, you don't have access to your dodge. So you have traded one for the other. It's not, you know, a simple method. But what it does allow him to do is move without spending any stamina, as you were saying, and then use the stamina itself on attacking with the bow.
Yep. And this champion is actually called the Blood Hunter.
Okay.
And he's spawning jaguars.
Yeah.
So there are other enemies that you can discover in the temple. Oh.
Rest in peace, Nico.
That's too bad.
He does a lot of damage. He does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Do you see these blue skulls down in the bottom right-hand corner? Where am I? I'm right here. He's that way. That way. Yeah. Down there. Those are going to be spent on that. Now, exactly how that's going to work, we haven't decided yet, but this is a roguelike game. We expect there to be some amount of, you finish a run, you get to start the next one, something's different. You've upgraded, you've changed something, you get to make some decisions. Like picking your character in Binding of Isaac, or like upgrading yourself in Hades. That's something that we expect in the genre, and we wouldn't be happy if it wasn't.
Yeah, we're actually working on something called the Blessings. And this is one of the strong possibilities we're going to do for meta progression into the game. So basically just an idea of having some kind of bonuses that you have to choose at each start of a run. And it really depends on how you want to play this run, so you have to put a lot of strategy and try to think what you want to do during your run. So yeah, we're working on that, and it's probably something that's going to look good.
We're gonna be happy with it. We tried. It's interesting because we tried a few different things, and again, this is the kind of development mode that we want to take into the early access. Is the way that we've been doing it through development so far, both with the players that we've had working in the closed alpha with us, who we thank stupendously. They've been a great help. Or when we're just kind of discussing the game between ourselves at Focus and the folks down at PasstechGames is, okay, let's try something. Okay, this didn't work, or we tried a design and it didn't look good on paper, so let's not implement it. Maybe, the blessing system or something else in the game, people really won't click with it, they really won't like it for whatever reason. Somebody will come up with a version that they like better, or the folks down at PasstechGames, game designers, is their job, it is what they do. They'll come up with something and they'll say, okay, let's try this. And we want to do that kind of thing. We want to have this quite fast developing game where every time you play, maybe something is different. We don't want to have it so every time you log in, everything's completely different. All the stuff you liked is gone. All the stuff you didn't like is gone. It's this whole new game. There's not much point in that. Like, we think we have a pretty good solid base, but we do think there's a lot of different knobs that we can turn when it comes to all the different stuff that you can do. And it should just be cool to be a part of this community, we think. It should be fun to be discussing with us, to be discussing with the developers, and to be discussing with each other. Oh, I like doing this, I like these blessings. And we're really hopeful that, when we get into early access, we get a decent number of players, and we can really kind of begin that process in earnest.
Yeah, it's a conversation with the community, actually.
Something we haven't talked about this side of our technical issues was the healing. Now, we had a relic that was healing us last time.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about healing, kind of the we have a pretty large health pool, but it can go away very quickly.
And you have 3 different stats. You have Constitution, Strength, and Perception, and they all have different properties. Constitution is about your health, so you will gain more health if you upgrade your Constitution point. Strength, of course, will make you give more damage, and Perception will get you more gold.
And those 3 stats as well, and again, I sound like a broken record here, but those all interact in different ways with different things. So you have more perception, maybe there's a weapon that scales its damage based on that. Maybe there's something that has another effect based on the perception that you have. Maybe there's something that deals damage based on how much constitution you have. So when you're building constitution, you're actually dealing damage and getting health at the same time, which is important to you, but you're trading that off for something else. Now, something super interesting that's happened here, Nico has actually opened up a secret passage. Yeah. Now, this was something I was hoping we were able to talk about. Secrets aren't just about, what items you find, what you can do, but there's also areas of the levels that you just won't see if you don't kind of look in every corner. And what I really like about it is there's a load of different ways for walls to be opened. They can be opened by explosive barrels. Some enemy attacks can do it. You can do it yourself with the right tool. And so maybe the first time through a room, you'll just kind of beat all the enemies and you'll go through and you'll do it. But then as you go through the room a second time, you'll be like, oh, hang on, I found that wall last time I was here. I want to get through that. I'm going to have to use an enemy attack to do so. How am I going to do that? And so it kind of changes exactly how you play. You end up playing in a riskier way. You end up being more greedy to try and get a larger reward. Another thing we didn't talk about was the cross-hand attacks. This is essentially where you can use your offhand weapon very quickly after your main hand weapon. The one for the shield, I think, is just kind of a bash. You see it right there. But there's a bunch of different ones for different types of weapons, right?
Yeah, there are with daggers, with pistols. So you have different types of cross combo to learn and discover.
It's definitely going to be a two-way street. If you take a look on the Steam page, which is up now, you can wish us the game. When it comes out, it'll probably be around €15, whatever that is in your local currency. It's going to be a conversation. We've got a Discord already set up. Yep. That's what we were using for the alpha tests, but We're planning to keep that up and keep that moving. Obviously, there's the Steam forums themselves, Smoke Signal, Twitter, like however you want to do it. You can get in contact with us. You can say, "Hey, I don't like this thing." Maybe we won't agree, and we can talk about it. But if a whole bunch of people tell us the same thing, we're probably going to listen to that. All right, Nico, you can do it for the people, Nico. Got plenty of health. How could this possibly go wrong? It didn't go wrong. Well done, everybody. Nice. Alright, so you get a bunch of gold, you get a bunch of blue skulls, and you get one of your curses lifted. Yep. So if you have two different curses, you actually get to pick which one you can get rid of.
You can pick.
Yeah, it's pretty rare that you'll feel... Like, you'll get to a room and you'll be like, oh yeah, I know what to do in this room. But the context of that room, exactly what the enemies are, exactly what the placement of different stuff is, what stuff that you have and how that affects things, that should all be different. So, you are very dead. That's how quick everything can go wrong. Thanks, Nico. The perfect example right there. I saw a question about coming to PS4. So console versions are something that we're thinking about that we want to do. They probably aren't going to hit until either like the middle of the early access or probably more likely at the end of the early access. So if you want to play it kind of right now, you want to be in there from the start, you can hit it on PC, on Steam. Other platforms, like, we'll definitely talk about it. Like, we know this game will be super sweet on Switch.
Oh, yeah,
like, this is the kind of thing I want to play on the plane. I want to play on a train.
On Switch.
We also, like, we know, you know, console gamers, they love everything. This is a game that is kind of, it feels good with a mouse and, with a pad. We do have mouse and keyboard controls, incidentally, playing with a pad right now. But those will be something that we also want a bunch of feedback on, because quite a lot of us play with pad when we're in the office. So yeah, like, we want to be on PS4, we want to be on every platform you play games on, but exactly when we'll be able to, just kind of depends on how things go. Nico's done. He's gotten too beaten up. Do you want to end on a win, Nico? Do you want to end on that big W you just got?
That's
Alright.
nice.
I'm proud of you. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody.
Thank you.
Curse of the Dead Gods, PasstechGames, Steam Early Access March 3rd, PAX East February 27th.
Yeah.
Right here, every so often, on our new weekly stream that will not be interrupted by technical issues next time. Or so help me God. Margot will be back with us at some stage, no doubt. We can't wait to speak to you more. We'll have much more about this game coming up. We kind of already have a roadmap in place in terms of what we're planning to do for the start of Early Access. But we are very happy to completely throw that out the window if people tell us, no, you need to fix this and do that, and you need to add these. And yeah, we'll do that stuff as we go. Alright, thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you next time. Peace.